Yes.
Welcome to the November 20th, 2024 meeting of the Lyman Planning Board. This meeting will come to order. This is a public proceeding, and unless the board specifically votes to go into executive session, you have the right to hear everything that is said and to look at all exhibits that are offered. If the board votes to go into executive session, the reasons shall be stated. Please notify the chair if you have difficulty seeing or hearing. This meeting is being digitally recorded and broadcast on YouTube. In each instance, the burden is upon the applicant to demonstrate compliance with the provisions of the applicable ordinance or ordinances. After the board votes on the merits of each project, it will prepare a written opinion which will be forwarded within 7 days. The board works from a prepared agenda and will consider this meeting's items in the following order. Roll call to determine if the planning board has a quorum. Regular meeting will be Mr. Dan Cook, Salem Capital Group, 301 Middle Road, map 4, lot 43-A, reopening of a convenience store. Second item will be to set the agenda for the 12/24, read and accept the minutes. Old business, check up on Harper Residential Subdivision and Carlisle Brook Estates. I invite you to join me in saluting the flag of our country. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Long may she wave. Could we have a roll call, starting with Mr. Revive?
Tim Rivard, Planning Board.
Bill Single, 8 Single Lane.
Kelly Demers, 10 Partridge Way.
Cecile Dupuy, 53 Chapel Shores Road.
Kevin Bear, 64 Buckingham Pond Road.
Okay, we have a full meeting. Mr. Cook, could you come up?
I'd like to speak for Mr. Cook, if I may.
Yep, stand up and address, or identify yourself.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, my name is George Hisson. People who know me call me Ted. I'm the owner of the property at 301 Mill Street.
Yep.
And I'm here to try to assist Mr. Cook in wrapping up what I understand are the outstanding items on his request.
Just a couple little. Yep.
So, in preparation, let's see, how many of you are you? I've got a little packet here. No fair reading ahead.
Okay. Thank you.
Try to make this
Oh, wonderful.
easy for you as I can. So, Mr. Chairman, board.
Yes.
My understanding is that there are 3 outstanding items. One had to do with sign lighting. One had to do with parking, and the other were concerns regarding the fuel storage and distribution system.
Correct.
If I've missed anything, then I'll have to circle back, but I think that's
Okay.
what I gleaned from the notes that I read. So the first item, the top sheet of your package, references the light that I would that we're proposing for this application. So this is a light that we've used in other locations. Be attached to the sign, which will go on the existing posts that I think you probably saw on your site walk, that are on the north side of the entrance to the parking lot. This light is it's a down light, so it attaches to the top side of the sign and illuminates the sign from the top down. Several reasons for this. It's a cutoff design light, so that it's intended to not allow light to come out from the edges. When you illuminate from the downside, it doesn't bother people driving up the street with a car or something if you're trying to shine the light up. So the cut sheet that I've given you shows the style of the light. It's a solar powered LED system that would just mount to the top of the sign. And we've used this in other locations for our operations, and it's pretty handy. So we'll get that passed. And the second page in here just identifies the methodology that we use to determine the number of parking spaces that's consistent with the ordinance. So as this says, there are 27 seats. I actually went in and looked in the store. There are booths, and they're kind of a stubby little booth.
Yeah.
They're not the full-size booths. So I assumed that that one could put 2 people on each side of the booth. Plus, I counted the chairs that were in there that had been used by the prior operator. Then it came up with 27 seats that are in there. According to the ordinance, that would take 9 parking spaces plus a total of 4 additional ones for 13 spaces, one of which is the handicap space.
And did you get those labeled on your site map?
I do have, yes, sir.
Wonderful. We'll get-
I'll give you a copy of the site map in just a moment, if you don't mind. So if you look on page 6 of the drawing, the photos are numbered on the bottom right corner. And page 6 shows, if you're good, have you good eyesight, you'll see that the whole premise has been striped.
Okay.
So the parking spaces are marked with paint. There's the handicap space is identified in the front, and there's a sign that's 4 feet elevated from the roadway, which I think all of which is responsive to the ordinance.
Yeah. Quick question, is that handicap spot van accessible?
Yes,
Okay, great.
so it's the spot itself is 11 feet wide, and there's another 5 feet that's for the door,
Mhm.
the sliding door to get any carriage out from the unit itself. So, so let me have so if I may approach.
That's cool.
I made 2 copies of this, not knowing quite which you need. Sorry.
Oh, no.
I have to bring 6 of them. But this.
Here it is, there's
we've
spaces.
identified the spaces and made a note on the drawing.
27 seat? Yeah, because I believe to go any bigger, you can only go 35 with the current building. So at 27, you're right there within. I'll pass that down so you guys can look. Pass that down so you can look. Yep, there's 3.
So if you need more for the code.
They're gonna need, typically we have one for our packets and everything. I don't think we need a specific one for our packet for the
Yeah, I
future.
didn't want to make that many D-size drawings underneath us. That would be
You
getting.
can pass that back. Okay.
So I'll wait till you're done looking at them. There's 13 spaces required.
You guys all set? Yeah, we'll pass these to Julie. I'll keep one for my set. Okay, we're ready to move on.
We all set?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you. So the last subject here then is the fuel storage and dispensing system. So photos 1 through 5 that I've included with the package are intended to show that the trees adjacent to the storage tank enclosure have been removed as suggested by the board.
Yep.
And so you can see here that they've all been, we've actually taken the trees down. and
And
removed.
you understand our concern with the possible penetration of the roots into the plumbing system?
Yes, sir.
So,
And I want to talk about that in a minute.
Okay.
More, so that everybody knows how this thing is actually working. So if you look at photos 7 and 8 in the package. What this is intended to focus on, especially number 7, it was hard to take the pictures. I apologize for the quality of the photos, but both the light and the fact that there's a fence there, it's hard to get through. But if you look at the back, at the top of this photo, you'll see the two lines that come from the tank.
Yep.
These are the delivery, this is the head end of the delivery system.
Right.
If you look, you'll see that there looks to be like a grommet on the top of that that's got a hose clamp around it.
right,
What that is, there's actually a sleeve that runs all the way underground from that point all the way over to the pumps.
to the island, yeah?
And that's called a gravel guard by the folks that are expert in the business. And I don't intend to be one of those, but that's what they call it. So it's a sleeve it's a plastic sleeve, and the pipe runs inside of that.
Mhm.
So the intention is for this thing, one, to prevent any vegetative incursion to
Yep.
damage the delivery pipe itself, and to prevent vehicles and/or freezing and thawing
Right.
action underground to damage the delivery pipe itself.
Great.
So it's a pretty bulletproof setup,
Mm-hmm.
that should behave normally, and we've not had any trouble with it for 20 years. So.
That was one of our concerns. Now I know about this type of system, we'll look for it in the future.
Yeah, I think most of these above ground tanks would look like this. I can't speak for a below ground tank because I don't want to have one of those. So that's just to help you understand how this thing works, and that I think we're adequately protected. The bulk of this transmission line, of course, is underneath paved surface, so it's not likely that other than freezing and thawing, there should be any reason to be concerned about what goes on under there. So the last thing that should be in a clip are a number of documents from a company named GAFTEC. GAFTEC is a licensed operation that deals with the licensing and the inspections of these fuel delivery systems. And they're registered with the state, and they report back to the state on the condition of what they find. So what I just intended to show by giving you these documents is that there was a statement of work that you see in the document itself, tells you what was done. The first inspection was done on September 9th of 23, and the system was found to be in satisfactory condition and operation at that time. The following visit, I asked them to come and take a look at the tanks themselves. It's a double wall tank, the above ground tank. And they did that on November 18th of 2023, and also found the system to be with no comments. On May 17th, we did an inspection that also resulted in satisfactory results. And then on October 22nd, that's just past October, I asked them to come in and walk the site with me, which we did. We looked at the trees that you did recommend we remove. And we actually took out a few more trees than he's indicating here. But he said he didn't really believe it was a problem, but he said if you wanted to be double belt and suspenders, go ahead and do it.
Proactive versus reactive.
We basically took everybody's recommendation to do that work. So that inspection, other than the conversation with regard to the trees, everything was found to be in adequate working order. What will happen here, assuming that we complete this permitting process here, when Mr. Crook goes to use the fuel dispensing system, he'll have to notify the DEP and get his licenses from them, of course. Then you have to load the system with fuel. And then GAF will come back and do a pressure test on the whole system. And they also do a dispensing measure test to make sure that the thing is counting the gallons correctly. So he can't actually use it until he gets those tests done. So the thing will be further certified at that point for operation. But at the moment, there's no further testing that we're capable of doing because there's no fuel in the tanks. Okay. So that's the end of my comments with regard to what I think are the three items that were still outstanding. Could you tell me whether we've met your requirement?
And your board members have any more questions? Pretty much satisfied that our concerns have been met?
I see we have addressed the signage lighting. It was my understanding, I didn't go on the site walk, that the question was the site lighting in general.
That was the other things, the lighting on the building itself. Those units are basically trashed and broken.
That's all been done. I had our electrician come back and replaced everything that wasn't working, and the lights are all in order at the moment.
Awesome.
Every light on the
They're
building.
typical downward facing, non-glare. I'm presuming they're like the other other businesses. So you're not having these halogen lights shooting out across the parking lot. They're all downward facing.
No. The building lights are recessed lights that are in the overhang. There's a 4-foot overhang on the building. So the building roof extends 4 feet out over the end of the front face of the building. And in the face of that, what would be the soffit, there are recessed lights, all of which work. And then
And then there were some around the back side we noticed that were damaged.
the backside of the building, those are only, I don't know that there's anything back there today that's not working because I asked the electrician to go through all of that. That those are not on all the time. Those would only be used if somebody was going to service anything in the back of the building.
Unfortunately, we only caught one.
But if they're not working, I can guarantee you that we'll fix
That
it.
they will be fixed. Again, it's something that we don't want someone to come back to us and say, well, we didn't ask this. Why didn't you ask about the lighting?
Yeah, sure.
And it's something that we do for every business.
Right.
So your pictures are good to be able to look at. And obviously somebody's done a lot of trimming and cutting out because a lot of the stuff you couldn't even see because it was so overrun.
Thank you.
That was the reason for the questions.
Yep.
And nobody could provide an answer at the time what was going to be done. So you've definitely cleared up a lot.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, what I wanted to do here was to do the work and then provide evidence that it's been done so that we don't have to, ask you folks to go out and take a look at it again to make sure it's done.
Well, the last thing that's going to happen before, you're going to have to get the occupancy permit from the CEO. So these, yes, Julie?
Nothing.
Oh,
I'm
okay.
just taking notes.
So the occupancy permit comes from whom?
Well, you're going to need two. You're going to need the code enforcement officer to go and make sure, probably the electrical. I don't know if Mark's about.
Marcel.
Marcel's going to need to go. Then, of course, for the kitchen, you're going to need Department of Health and Human Services.
Yeah, those permits we know before you can operate.
Right, and
Yeah,
as well as our officer's going to have to go in simultaneously. I just learned that today.
that's fine.
Other than that, it's just, we got to go through the ordinance and the checklist. And I will address this, because we're in the middle of this. We received a letter from your attorney requesting why we would go with a site plan review when they had a conditional use permit back when you initially did the business. Several things have happened in the meantime. Number one, the municipality did away with conditional use permits. And at that time, they went to contract zoning. The other thing that happened is in the meantime, while you came here with contract zoning and everything else, the business has been vacant for a while, which under the old contract zoning would have required a new site plan review. Then, according to the contract zoning, there was stipulations in there that stated, conditions of approval and any variation from the plan proposals or supporting documents and the representation are subject to review and approval by the planning board. What was presented before us was 3 issues. One, you weren't sure if you were going to reopen the fuel station or not. That was a change to the original conditional use permit. Number 2, you wondering, are you going to continue with the restaurant? If you did or didn't, whether you were going to have sit down or just takeout. That was a potential second change. The third change is you plan on using the kitchen facilities for commercial operation, stocking your food trucks, correct? No? Well, that was one of the things that was mentioned in,
Some of this is very, very vague. Food truck, no. We haven't said food truck. Never is mentioned. We're selling a food truck. Number one. When we think about doing some catering with the business, as people, we make platters and stuff like that.
that would still have been a change to the original conditional use permit.
Well, that's all right, but what we've done here, I think, is notify you that these things are going to be done, and we're trying to be
Right,
sure
and
that
I'm
it's
just saying is-
acceptable.
All those things, either whether they were continued or not, along with the commercial for the catering, requires a site plan review.
Yeah, well,
So-
I told Julian, I said, listen, we're on our way with this whole process now. Let's not
So I just.
stall
wanted to-
things out. I want to get done here,
Oh, yeah,
so.
so do we. But I have to address this because this came,
Mhm.
and we need to explain the legality of why we are requiring site plan review. It's not to stymie anything, it's just to follow the letter of the ordinance.
Right.
Which you guys have done now.
That's what we want.
Exactly.
That's the language we want.
Exactly. I just had to, again, explain why we had to do certain things that we did.
Right.
So do we think that this application has now been completed? And that we can move on to the 16 standards? Because the last one, we went through the first 19. Those all been verified, motion seconded. All that was addressed.
Property lines are on I don't see any notes.
You got any notes, Kevin?
No, I don't see any additional items.
I think the last one cleared everything up with the exception of those items. Bill?
No, I'm good. That answered a lot of questions.
Yes.
Yeah.
So do
Thank
we
you.
want to move on to the 16 standards?
Yes,
Okay.
sure.
Number 1. Will meet the definition of the use of zoning district requirements and any other requirements set forth in this ordinance.
The use is allowed in that zoning, so, yes, the applicant meets condition number 1. I move that the applicant meets that condition.
Got a motion? Do we have a second?
Second.
Got a motion, a second. Any discussion? There are no discussion. All in favor that the applicant meets number 1, 16 standards? Aye?
Aye.
Approved. Number 2, will not have a significant detrimental effect on the use of peaceful enjoyment of the abutting properties as a result of noise, vibration, fumes, odor, dust, light, glare, traffic, or other cause. I'll entertain the motion that the applicant meets standard number 2.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Approved. Condition number 3, will not have significant adverse effect on the adjacent or nearby property values.
The business existed before. No one has come
Actually,
forward about it affecting property values, so.
the community's appears to be looking forward to it. So I'll make a motion that the applicant meets criteria numbers 3.
Second.
You have a motion, a second, any discussion? All in favor? Aye, approved.
Aye.
Number 4, will not create a hazard to pedestrians or vehicular traffic or significant traffic congestion. Reinitializing an existing building and use. So, do we have a motion?
I move that the applicant meets condition number 4.
Second?
Second.
Got a motion, second, any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Approved. Number 5, will not result in fire danger. Sprinkler systems in place for the fire, the store's gonna have, probably most likely have sprinkler systems, so. I'll entertain a motion that, I'll make a motion, the applicant meets criteria number 5.
Second.
We got a second, any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Approved. Number 6, will not result in flood hazard or flood danger, drainage problems, ground or surface water contamination, or soil erosion.
Existing structure.
Yep.
Nothing's
And
changed.
the potential contamination, that's going to be, that issue has been addressed with the testing of the fuel system. So I'll say that there is no result. We have a motion, we have a second. Any discussion? More discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Passed. Number 7, will not create a safety hazard because of inadequate access to the site or buildings for emergency vehicles.
I move that the applicant meets condition number 7.
I'll second that. Discussion? You've got 2 entrances, one existing, they got good clear vision. The entrances are not blocked by obstruction of trees or anything, so I'll move that, all in favor that the applicant meets number 7.
Okay.
Because we had a motion and a second, we were in discussion. Number 9, has proposed exterior lighting that will not, number 8, pardon me, has proposed exterior lighting that will not create hazard to motorists traveling on adjacent public streets, is adequate for safety. Have a motion? Motion,
Motion.
second. Any more discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Passed. Okay, we did. I lost one. I lost a standard here. There it is. Number 9.
I make the motion. Oh,
Number 9, makes provision for buffers and on-site landscape which will provide adequate protection to the neighboring properties from detrimental features of the development. The applicant shall provide a plan prepared by a registered landscape architect or qualified professional approved by the planning board.
make the motion that it doesn't apply.
I'll second that motion. Yeah, there's no change. The land is flat, so you're not changing the topography. So, any more discussion? All in favor of the applicant meets number 9?
Aye.
Passed. 10, makes provision for vehicular parking, loading, unloading, as well as vehicular and pedestrian circulation on the site and to adjacent public streets which would neither create hazard to safety or impose significant burdens on public facilities.
Applicant meets condition number 10.
We have a second. We have motion, we got a second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Approved. Number 11, makes adequate provisions for the disposal of wastewater and solid waste for the prevention of ground and surface water contamination. Got a motion?
Make a motion that they comply.
Second.
Got a motion, second discussion, and you got an existing, no, you don't have stormwater, but you have sewer disposal. And it's, if I remember looking at it, it is well oversized for your facility, so. Any more discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Passed. Number 12, makes adequate provision for erosion, control erosion and sedimentation. I'm going to say that there's no change, so I'm going to make a motion the applicant meets number 12.
Second.
Got a motion, second, any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Passed. Number 13, makes adequate provisions to handle stormwater runoff and other drainage on the site. It's been there for 20 years.
20 more than.
Yeah, and it's been doing its job. We didn't see any signs of excessive erosion. So do I have a motion?
I move to approve addition number 13.
Motion second. Any more discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Approved. Number 14, provides for a water supply which meets the demands for proposed use and meets the needs for fire protection purposes. You got a well out there.
Correct.
You've got your, sprinkler systems, interior, exterior. It's already been approved by the fire department and the fire marshal. So I'll make a motion that the applicant meets number 14. So we got a second over there. Any more discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Approved. Number 15, makes adequate provisions for the transportation, storage, disposal of hazardous substances and materials as defined by state and federal law, the storage of chemicals, explosives, or hazardous items as defined by the National Fire Protection Association Code 704, Class 4 or Class 3 or 4 materials are prohibited.
No, none of these are going to be stored there, Brennan.
Right, not
hazardous
the
material.
Class 3 or 4, and the fuel tank system is under the purview of whoever authorizes you to do it. And they test it and they approve it and they stamp it. So do I have a motion that they meet 15?
So moved.
Second, motion second. Any more discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All right. Number 16, will not have an adverse impact on significant vistas, scenic vistas, or the significant wildlife habitat which could be avoided by reasonable modification to the plan. I
Really
don't
doesn't
think that there's
apply.
going to be any specific scenic vistas in the area. So I will make a motion that it is not applicable and that the applicant meets the criteria for number 16. Second? Motion second. Any more discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Do we have a motion that the applicant has finished and completed the site plan review and addressed any and/or all concerns that we have?
So moved.
Second.
Motion and a second that the applicant has completed the site plan review and any conditions, criteria that we have addressed. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Congratulations.
I'd like to thank the board for your patience.
No,
Uh,
we're here to assist.
Well,
We appreciate you, what you brought in, that helped.
Yes, that was,
We're working together, right?
yeah, exactly.
Yes.
So thank you.
No, and
Appreciate
be
it. Appreciate your time,
I think
your work, your hard work.
Be prosperous and,
man. Gonna bring some.
So you all need to come in after this guy because
Nice to meet you.
What's that?
Rivard, Rivard, R-I-V.
So I recommend you go down and tell him I said that you're all entitled to a free meal.
well, we couldn't do that because that would be considered,
Joey
something
Nickerson is my
else, but
brother-in-law.
if it happens
My
to
sister,
volume
my
go
sister
back
married.
and into our vehicle while we're looking.
That's it. So thank you.
Oh, you did.
Thank you for your patience and understanding that
Linda, right?
My
some
older
things sound
sister.
very trivial, but we have to
High
address
school.
it.
So you know that's not my first.
That's my
rodeo.
sister.
Oh, no. Yeah, we've.
Yeah, no, I grew up in
with your
Kennebunk.
son.
Yeah,
I live
Christopher.
here.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice to meet you.
Yeah, thank you.
So,
It's helpful pictures
Visual is the best.
for me.
yeah.
Meanwhile,
I'm excited to see
Yeah,
you
so
get
it
opened
was,
up.
and you can understand why certain things were like,
We got a.
we know it's existing, but the
1,000,
occupancy stopped.
I guess.
Get
So-
a pizza on that thing.
And we don't want
Is that
to.
right?
Ready?
We want to be amicable with all our
I
residents.
think you'll like what he's doing there.
Me too.
It's gonna be nice.
I've heard good things about
I think the neighborhood is looking forward to it.
Oh, God, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I can't get past the door, I gotta say, we're gonna open yet.
On the two Facebook pages, I see activities at Hill Sunny's. When's it opening?
We're getting there.
So,
Well, thanks to you guys.
just a.
Appreciate all your time.
You'll send a letter to.
Yes, within 14 days. It's now and,
Well, it might take a little longer because of the holiday next week.
No, that can't happen.
Holiday, that's what I said today. This is a holiday, you know, another holiday?
It's always a holiday.
But we'll move forward on the theory that it's.
yes, it is.
Well,
Where to go?
Right, it is official. There's a stamp. You heard the gavel. The board's voted. It's just the formal notification that's going to get filed with everything.
The permit needs to be recorded.
Yes. I'm already there, halfway there.
And there was someone,
That's right.
I was gonna say, in the
Thank
kitchen,
you.
there was someone just today asking where they can find good homemade cannolis.
We can all, you wait and see what we got. We did, we fired a pizza oven up a couple of weeks ago. And, one of my chefs is Greenbrier, but he's run 3 pizza places. And the pizza goes, you see this? Because I told him, I said, I want pizza that when you pick it up, everything slides off.
Oh,
And boom, he's like, checked out.
now, are you doing pizzas, flatbreads, New York style, Chicago style, Sicilian
It's
style?
all up to him on the pizza. He's the pizza man.
Okay,
But we do all kinds of cool stuff now. You know, it's gonna be not only do fine food, we do great food as a reasonable price. And then we'll do some cool specials around Thai food, Japanese. We can-
okay.
We can
You
mix it
got me
all.
on the tie.
My wife is Thai, but I work Pacific Rim, Hawaii, all over the place.
Wonderful. Well, congratulations, good luck.
Thanks again. Appreciate it.
Glad we
Thanks
could
for showing
get this.
up, Dan.
Nice to see you. I didn't realize I was going to be doing this again after my 88 years.
Well, I saw that you retired. It's like, wait a minute, you just walked in the
Glad you
door.
threw it.
Always a, you don't have to have a business to come in and visit us.
You was
We like
right.
having
You
people
was
visit
right.
us.
I'm busy. But thanks for the
I was gonna say, I get, it's lonely with no one in the gallery, except for our millions of viewers on YouTube.
Oh, thank you. Dan.
Take care.
Appreciate it. Come on, Danny.
Get a free- All right, okay. gotta go.
They'll tell you to permit away from you. Thank you.
Bye.
See you.
Hey, guys.
Take care. Okay, next item up for business is the agenda, not the agenda. Do we want to see the agenda before going through the minutes?
We can.
Sure.
Why not? That gives our brain time to question things. Okay, we have the Town of London Planning Board meeting minutes for October 2024 as presented. Do we have any nitpicks, questions, comments, concerns?
Good to me.
Yeah, that's fine.
Thank you very much, Kevin. Hearing none, I'll make a motion that we accept the Town of Lyman Planning Board meeting minutes for October 2nd, 2024. Do I have a second?
Second.
Any more discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Minutes approved.
I do have a question.
Okay,
If I might, should I do this for Mr. Chairman?
Julie, all you gotta do is look at me. You got the floor.
All right, so I had a call the other day from somebody who owned a piece of property that's a peninsula shoreland, and asked if they could put a generator in. It's gonna be within the 75-foot setback. Do they have to go in front of the planning board to put in a pad, put a generator within the 75 feet? And what if they don't put the pad in, if they just put the generator on blocks, it's still within the 75 feet?
Oh,
I think that's code enforcement. But they may not even have to, because if they're 75 feet from the water.
Well,
No,
It's
they're
within the-
within the 75.
Oh, they would-
Oh, that was my fear. So you have, let's say we have a peninsula that is 60 feet wide,
Mhm.
and in the center at the 30-foot mark, they want to construct a structure. Ouch.
Yeah,
It is it is.
If they're putting concrete down, it's a permanent structure.
yeah.
Technically, they're not supposed to cut down any trees bigger than 6
So if they
inches.
put it on the pad, you can buy it at Home Depot, it's movable.
If it's
Well,
not
you
a
can't
permanent
move it.
structure,
No, the pads come right up, you can pick it up,
But if,
disconnect the generator, move it, absolutely.
But if they pour a cement pad, it's permanent.
that's an
But
improvement.
if they put cement blocks or something that's movable, then it's not permanent.
I would,
The question I would ask, is there another place to put it?
that's what they did, the best.
Yeah,
know?
I don't know.
How is it situated on that parcel
Mm,
that that's the place it has to go?
Yeah, I think that, I didn't get into in depth in it, I was like, I don't know.
I would defer to Rebecca to see if that's, and if it comes down to a structure, then that sounds like something that would refer to us.
Mm.
But if it's a peninsula and it doesn't meet setbacks, and there's no rock solid justification why it absolutely has to be there and can't be on the mainland,
Yeah,
I
but if it's a generator, and you, like, if you have your peninsula and your structure, and your generator's gotta be down here beside your structure, and it's within the 75, no matter where you have to put it.
right, but now as a peninsula jutting out, now is the placement and sound generated by that generator
gonna go in.
result in an adverse noise and nuisance that may disturb the pleasure of the other residents of the lake.
I don't know if the generator would, that's almost like a.
I don't know, when power goes out, I can hear
Generator.
generators all
Right,
around.
But I mean, a lot, all the shorefronts around here, everyone in my neighborhood has a generator.
The portable generators everybody else is gonna be running are
They're the
are gonna
most
overpower.
The question is
The-
why are they looking to have the generator on the peninsula and not,
Yeah.
is the structure of the house on the peninsula? Or are they looking to light a deck?
So you don't know if they're lot, but do they have a structure on that?
I didn't get into that,
Okay.
it was just a generic.
Yeah, so
I-
it says here, the definition of structure in the shoreline, it's anything temporarily or permanently located, built, constructed, or erected for the support, shelter, or enclosure of persons, animals, goods, or property of any kind, or anything constructed or erected on or in the ground. So the term includes structures temporarily, permanently located such as decks, patios, and satellite dishes. Structure does not include fences, poles, wiring, and other aerial equipment normally associated with service drops, including guy wires, guy anchors, subsurface water, wastewater disposal systems. As
What
defined
did
by-
it say about enclosure?
It doesn't.
No, it did in the first part, you had
Oh,
mentioned.
subsection geothermal heat exchange wells.
What page you on?
This is on page 63 of shoreline.
Because you said something that caught my attention. when-
Because it's not a living space. It's not an enclosure,
But decks, patios
It's-
also.
but it's not a deck and it's not a patio.
Right. It's actually a device. It's a,
I would want to know what the rest of the property looks like. I think
Yeah.
that would be the telltale sign right there.
yeah.
Yeah, and I'd wanna know how the generator is powered, if it's propane, with the proximity of the propane tank is gonna be
Right.
to the water.
Yeah, it would be more of an issue if the propane tank was located with it.
Or gas tank, and it's going to spill it, and
Right.
something happens, and the
Right.
gas tank knocks over, melts, whatever.
Right, and if it's propane, and I know there's certain regulations you have to follow if it's near the water and it could float in a flood point or something.
That's true.
You have to anchor it.
I would refer to Rebecca for a preliminary investigation to see if it's a blatant yes or no. If it's a maybe, then I think it would fall on us.
Well, she's going to decide if she can permit it or not. If she can't, it's going to end up coming to us.
Right.
Yep.
So, I mean, that pretty much is a good process. Tell her she's the professional filter.
The other issue is I'm sure you probably have a licensed electrician or whatever person that's qualified to set up that, and they would probably know also,
Mhm.
because, I mean, there are many of these around. Almost everybody on the water has a generator.
They're wonderful devices.
They really are,
Yes.
yeah.
That needs to go back that way, Bill.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
all right.
It's almost like a requirement to live
I know
around
it,
here.
I know it.
Right, but my big concern is why do they want it on the peninsula? Do we have a map in the lot that we can take a quick 30-second, no map in the lot?
It was one of those quick.
No.
Quick, oh, I got an idea, what about this? Okay, yeah,
Yeah, I don't know, I'm gonna have to ask you, okay?
because, and they know it's less than 75 feet across. and we need 75 feet from the shore, so it would have to be 150 feet wide.
Yeah.
Actually, let's say 154 feet wide, which would give us the space for the generator.
Yeah, the size of a generator.
You know, what you can do with electrical, running underground conduit, they can put it back somewhere. You know,
Yeah.
I'm sure that there's something that can be done.
So does Mr. Crook have to get a notice of decision now?
Yes.
Yes, so we have to draw that
And
up.
who's being nominated to write that, Mr. Kevin?
Or I could do that. I can do the notice of decision.
You good with that?
Mrs. Seal?
Okay.
Hey, separation of duties, minutes, notice of decisions and other things like that, that works. All in favor?
I'll vote on that.
The train has left the station and they're on the.
I have a question about the notice of decision. On the original, condition, I think there were some conditions. We didn't talk about conditions. Do we have any conditions to add?
Here's the thing, the conditional use permit is null and void.
Right,
It would have potentially come under contract zoning.
well, no, it's a permitted use.
It's a permitted use, so therefore, in my opinion, please correct me if you think I'm wrong, because it is now a permitted use as a restaurant, gas station.
Yeah, convenience store.
Convenience
one,
store.
whatever.
It's a neighborhood convenience store.
Right. X, Y, Z. All it has to do is go through the 16 standards. I don't see any conditions that we could imply upon it that,
Yeah, and we would have to.
Yeah, the only
Focus on
outstanding
the-
things is based on getting the DEP approval, CEO approval, which is.
right, that's
Right.
beyond our purview.
Right, so that would be the only listed conditions that we would put on.
Which you did state.
Yeah, and
Okay.
they're reusing a structure that was permitted before.
Mhm.
They're not changing, he's not turning it into a used car salesmanship on that lot, which would possibly require us to put conditions like you can only have X amount of cars for sale, and you can't.
Right.
I think he's fine, I think he's,
I think his son should have come in at the first meeting. It would have been over with.
I know.
Yeah.
So Julie, do you have can you email me a template or? and,
A form on one of those.
Paid to the order of.
all right. So we're good with, you're gonna do the notice of
I'll
decision?
do the notice of decision and then you'll peruse it. And then I can also sign it, so I'll come in. I mean,
Right.
if it's approved, if we all agree to it.
Well, you do it up
And
at the
then,
next meeting, you
Yeah.
look it over and you vote on it.
If she gets it done, she can send us a draft copy or nits
actually,
and pics.
I think in the past, we did not have to approve the notice of
No.
decision document.
No,
We approved the process, we just emailed it, made sure everything was in order.
Yep.
And, so otherwise it would hold up.
Right, we got 14 days to get this done.
Yeah, no, you're correct. I agree.
but it's
Don't
14
need- don't need to
business
bring
days.
it to another meeting, I think.
Nope, I think once you've come up with a draft, we send it out like the minutes, nits,
Right.
pics, send it back, either yay, no, yes, or no. You,
You or I can sign it.
right, either one, you know, you can do it at your desk or I can come.
No,
in.
it has to be notarized, so I have to do it here, but
Yeah, so either I'm right up the street, and
either one.
So-
Okay.
so be it.
Okay.
Okay,
Mhm.
last meeting, we discussed, briefly mentioned upon, to help alleviate issues when the listing packet is not complete. I think, Kevin, you proposed that we send like a letter of notice of deficiencies in
That was
the application.
Rebecca's.
Rebecca, okay. And it was brought to my attention, and I actually got a sample of it, and I think it's a fantastic idea. So that you need to have a survey to this scale. On this survey, you need to have the boundaries, you need to have the butters, we need this, we need the line for all the planning board members to sign. We need, oh, you didn't bring in right title deed. So that way there, and we can list it by the paragraph, subsection, and it'd be a template that you just drop, put in, Mr. Smith, thank you for your visit, you're attending the planning board meeting on XYZ date, these are the issues that came up during the meeting, to assist you. So does the board think that something like that is a good idea or not?
I mean, it is a good idea. However, this is another piece of documentation, and we don't have a dedicated planning board clerk. So someone has to note that, draw it up, review it, and, we haven't done that in the past, but.
It was strongly suggested that we do because it provides the applicant with, I have 10 items I need to address versus relying on memory or going back over the video.
So if somebody puts together a list of all of the possible issues, I'll get it put into a form. And we can sit here and pop through, print it, and send it.
I can give you, this is what was presented to me, then we can go with the 18 issues here. And then if it doesn't pertain to it, you can just a PDF.
Well, the one thing I was gonna do was to take the 19 issues, I think, or was it 18?
19, 20.
And put that in a list so we could type in the answers to those. Then we can save it, print it, and you've got your document.
If you're willing to do that, that would be.
I was gonna have it for this meeting and I forgot.
Didn't John draw up one of those, didn't John draw something up like that? John Hernan, when he was, remember, I know he did one for the notice of decision checklist. Remember that?
He did.
I can ask them.
But I thought he did one also for,
I'll pass that on to you. That was the quasi template that was presented to me. Again, if we can make this process smoother for the applicant,
That's really not in
yeah,
close
that's,
to what I
I
need.
got that. But I thought we had one.
It's gonna be
for the,
taking those 19 points and putting them in a format with a place to put the answers as to what we decide. And then that way that can be forwarded and it gives you all the explanation you're gonna need.
Well, wasn't it like the one that,
It is,
It is, it's exactly
just in a
that.
format.
yeah, that's just, I think it's done up on a spreadsheet. I had done it up on a spreadsheet or something.
I was gonna do it up in a PDF file,
Mhm.
because then you can have the explanation section expand as you need it.
Yeah.
So I'll do my best.
Awesome.
if it's better than what we have now, then we're ahead of the game.
Yeah.
And if the applicant looks at that and goes, okay, I'm going down through this and I see, number 7, okay.
When I went to that meeting with MMA.
Yep.
That was one of the points that they brought forward and said that your notes at the time of the meeting documented are better than anything the day after or later. So they call them contemporaneous notes. I'll try not to forget this time.
Thank you, Bill.
And
That's-
usually too, that the applicant meets with the code enforcement officer first.
And they have been.
And usually they don't come to the planning board until the code enforcement officer will go through the checklist and sees what they need and what they don't need. And if there's some questionable ones, like maybe I don't need this, whatever, then, they come with an incomplete checklist, but it's already been reviewed by the code. enforcement.
Technically, it's not the code enforcement officer's responsibility to do that. They've been doing great, and Rebecca typically will spend about an hour with the applicant.
I think if you look at our ordinance, it says that the process is that the applicant meets with the code enforcement officer first.
Correct, to determine whether it's theirs or planning board. That technically should be the end of it. We've been having tremendous assistance by our code enforcement officers, taking the time, going down through, you're gonna need this, you're gonna need that, you're gonna need this, you're gonna need that.
Right.
So we've been fortunate that our code enforcement officers have been assisting us in tremendous ways. Okay, that's what I had. Thank you both for doing that.
I put it in my notes, so I won't forget.
Okay. Do we want to set the agenda for the December 4th meeting?
I got nothing.
You got nothing?
I have a note on my calendar for tomorrow to reach out to the 2 subdivision people and let them know I need to know if they want to be on that agenda by Friday this week, because we need to
Yeah, there's Thanksgiving kind of coming up in
Thanksgiving
the
and to
way.
get stuff posted and documents.
Do we want to just have a
I'm not
work-
available for that meeting. I'll be out of town.
The 4th?
Yeah.
Okay. So just have a workshop?
If we don't have anything on the agenda, I don't think we need to have a meeting, do we?
Well, there's a couple things for zoning that I'd like to kind of hash, get on our minds, and either us do a rough draft and possibly send it to either the ordinance review committee or the select board to get a couple things in the works. Ordinance review committee been doing a wonderful, fantastic job, but they also have 30 other ordinances that they're also responsible for reviewing. It's up to the members.
See, I would prefer to do that after first of the year,
Okay.
only because I know how busy December is, and the less that we have to do, the better.
Okay. So I'll make, we need notification. No, we don't need, because our subject to change without notice. So I will make a motion that unless business comes before the planning board, that we cancel the December, what did I say, 4th?
Yeah.
December 4th meeting.
And I think the same goes for the next one in December.
Well, that would be December 18th, and I think that we should definitely have our annual December's meeting so that we can have
Yeah, but Dawn's not here to bring us shrimp.
I know.
I'll give
And we
you a
missed
call.
it.
Invite 'em.
Yeah.
We can invite our past members as a thank you for guiding us. And what year did we have to visit? 2020 for COVID?
COVID, yeah.
Yeah.
That was
We
a damper
didn't
on
have,
it,
we did, missed a lot of meetings. We didn't have meetings, I think.
unless it was absolutely
Just
necessary.
the town hall.
So
was
my
closed.
motion is that we cancel the December 4th meeting unless something comes before the board.
I'll second that.
So motion second, any discussion? December 4th meeting is canceled. Unless something comes before the board. Okay, now on to the December 18th. Do we want to have a little small Christmas get together? Nothing fancy. Like, Don Herman used to bring shrimp cocktail, we used to have cookies, apple cider, just small stuff. It's 20 minutes, half an hour, maybe some cheese and crackers and meats. You good with that?
I like parties.
It's a way to say, hey, you know what?
You're partying on it, huh?
Yeah.
That's right.
Well, I don't know about that. Can I be in bed by 7:30?
Hey, we start at 5:30.
Start at 5:30, you can be in bed by 7:30.
All right.
Some days.
I will make a motion that regardless, if anything comes before the board, that on December 18th, that we have our annual planning board Christmas party.
I'll second that.
Okay.
Got a motion second. Any discussion? All in favor?
All right,
December 18th Christmas party.
all right.
We probably can't call it that, but that's okay. That's what I'm writing.
Festivus party.
That's what I'm writing.
Yeah.
Kevin can do what he wants with it after that, but I'm writing Christmas party.
Holiday greeting.
holiday gathering.
Yes.
Mhm.
Okay, we've set the agenda, we've done this. Nothing from Harper Residential Subdivision?
Nope.
Anything from Carlisle Brook after our initial consultation with them?
Oh, you did get the link for, Harper, right? I sent an email with the link for, with the stormwater application. I do have
Yes, yes.
a pile of papers in there.
Yeah.
If you want your stack, you can.
Well, we will need a stack in front of us when they come before us.
Or you can have them this evening if you'd like them.
I think
You'd
I
like
actually,
to take a pile home.
no, we'll wait.
Okay.
We'll wait till they're, looks like they want to do things, have a packet fully presented and go, here, I've done more than is required.
Yeah.
Which would be nice. Great. Okay. Nothing else come before the board? Yes, Kevin?
Concerning the election and the changes to our ordinance. I thought I read that all four changes passed, including getting rid of the contract zoning and several other things. Do those take effect immediately?
Yes.
That's a good question.
Did you look at the totals? They were
Yeah.
close.
Oh, yeah.
That's
They're
because
very-
Every one of them was close.
that's because
Yes.
1/3 of the town didn't understand the questions. that didn't
Well,
vote on them.
First of all, I mean, it doesn't bother me to say, when I look at something to vote on and there's nothing there, I vote no. So I voted no on everything.
Yeah, I took the time to, this is my personal opinion and no reflection upon the board. The ceasing of the contract zoning backpedals the progress of the town until we come up with something else that will allow us to allow owners, developers, whatever, their ability to expand and produce commercial-based income for the town. We have no means to do that at this moment, unless it is specifically allowed in the specific areas.
That was my concern with that. The ordinance review said that they were looking to expand the uses in the zones, but before doing that, they put the contract zone deletion out there.
Right, we have cut off means
Yes.
of potential prosperity.
So you take away one thing, what are you gonna give, you know?
Right.
We got nothing,
How are you
we
gonna
lost it.
Right now,
overcome the issue? And what they've done is there'll be no more breweries,
Right.
like we've had.
Nope.
They've eliminated all that.
right.
And, But I think that's one of the reasons the votes were close.
Did we understand?
Because I was seeing a lot of people did not understand.
Did I
And
notice that?
I think that there were
Do we get a
some
new copy?
packets
We should have
at
a
the
copy.
voting that explained it.
Do we get a new copy of the ordinance?
Actually, yes.
Yeah.
You will get a new copy.
It has been corrected online.
Okay.
Right.
Changes.
I'm trying to think of, there was the contract zoning, there was something with
The
show.
ADUs, ADUs on the shoreline,
Yes, that,
and ADUs,
And they went to
expanded
800.
800, and they don't have to be on a
Yes.
Right.
now, this, again, this is my personal opinion, and it's not
Still
reflected,
doesn't coincide with what the state said.
and is
So-
no reflection upon the members of the board. The additional ADUs on the shoreline zoning, I mean, most of these properties don't even meet the current shoreline zoning minimum lot requirements.
Right, yeah, they're not conforming.
So
lots.
they are, the letter of what they voted for, and people need to understand, is you cannot make an illegal property more illegal. So if you have a half acre lot,
They comply with the zoning, it doesn't make it more illegal, because if that's legal.
it's grandfathered. Their residence is grandfathered, and they have a 20,000 square foot property, where shoreline is 40,250.
I understand, but
You know, we're gonna see
It's legal
residents going,
non-conforming.
I have my
Yeah.
front property, I want to put a garage with an ADU on it, and you're going, no, you're making a,
And see, I don't think you have a choice, because I
Well, yeah,
think
they're
the
allowed
state,
30% expansion,
the state ruling is gonna supersede.
they're allowed 30% expansion, so if they've expanded the initial footprint, they can't do anymore. And
So-
then the septic system has
And
to
be
be.
a
The
liable
state
legal
regulation
issue.
says you
I
can
think
put
you're right.
another primary building on that lot.
on a legal conforming lot. until they change,
To be determined.
By lawyers.
until they come out and they change shoreline zoning. And then with LDL 2000, now you have 5 units per lot.
No, I get what you're saying. It's a no-win situation. And I think they tried very hard to do what was right.
And then when they went from, what was it, 680 to 800 for the ADU, now you have an 800 square foot ADU on a potential 960 square foot ranch. Now you no longer have an ADU, which would generally by the GSE is less than 2/3 the size. Now you have a duplex. We don't allow duplexes on shorelands, are they? Gonna need to be a lot of readjustment for identification of properties.
And no changes can be made to the ordinance now until nothing can be voted in for another 2 years.
No.
So,
I guess it really depends on your interpretation of what it means. Because I understand what people are saying with that, but I also know that the people that put that wording in intended for it to be in November when we have the larger elections.
right.
So,
And there's also the option for a voter recall. We have how many days? 90 days? I don't know. There is a time frame for the
I
residents.
know we're not gonna answer the question.
No. It's beyond our purview. I'm just expressing personal concerns. Okay, so we have that, we've got this. Anything else? So you started, Kevin, I was ready to close the meeting. No, it was great. Anything else come before the board?
No.
Questions? All right, if hearing nothing, yes, Kevin?
Do we have to sign the Brook plans?
No,
That site plan should be recorded. We're giving this, the permit is going to be recorded at the registry. of
that's
deeds.
right, so we should grab that and sign it.
We need to,
But he takes them.
that with the, so that I think we sign after the notice of decision is written. I guess we could do it now.
Yeah, because otherwise we gotta wait till December 18th, which is beyond the 14
Right.
days. So there should
Pick
be
a corner and,
Is there a slot for,
no,
Doesn't have the 5 lines?
No.
listed?
good catch, Kevin. I think we just need to make them.
Yeah. Should get a rubber stamp.
Yep, right above the graphic scale, sounds pretty good.
right above where?
Just anyway.
Plan reference.
Yeah.
So back to the other discussion we were just having. What it doesn't answer is the issue if you can have 2 primary buildings on a lot, and the person in the secondary building wants to go to the bank for a mortgage, they have to own the lot. So it doesn't resolve that issue.
It creates a whole.
It absolutely
catty
does. It
lump.
absolutely does.
But I just spent $340,000, $500,000 for this house. Yeah, and you've given it to the owner of the property.
No, I agree. But I mean, that's a big issue that needs to be addressed. And I don't know if the state's going to address it or if we're going to have to do it locally.
The state is gonna make some decision with no idea how to implement it and throw the onus on the municipalities to figure it out and then go, wait a minute, that's not what we meant for you guys to do. Hey, we're only Indians, they're the chiefs.
You might want a date today.
Yep.
Just so that we have a date on it.
This is 11, 20. Hearing nothing else, do we have a motion to adjourn?
And make a motion to adjourn.
We got a motion, we got a second, do we have any discussion? Hearing no discussion, all in favor? Closed at 6:40. All you folks have an absolutely wonderful Thanksgiving, if that is your desire. And if you so desire a crappy one, so be it. Who am I to tell you what to do?
Oh, you lost us already.